Yo, what up, guys? We are live once again with all my YouTube friends. How is everybody doing out there? Got a good one lined up for you tonight. All right, we got PJ CNET here, says hey, hey. All right, who else is here? Mad Dog says, what's up? There's my watch page. So I look good, sound good on my end. All right. Oh, yeah, excuse me, I almost forgot. Mad Dog didn't say what's up. He says, what's up? What's up? We still do that around here. You know, other people stop doing that, but we still do. That's one of those things we like to carry on. That way it doesn't die out. Somebody's got to do it, right? I think I'm the last guy in the world to have done that. What are the chances that since I finished doing that someone else in the world did a was up as well? I doubt it. Now watch, one of you guys is going to do it at home and prove me wrong. Scheiden Wales here. Vanessa Camera is here. She says, fakest shit I have ever seen. Oh, you're talking about the Artemis launch. Yes, that's what we're going to be watching tonight. We're going to break down the supposed mission back to the moon. You guys hear that? NASA's going back to the moon with an unmanned mission. Oh, a computer rocket without any people on board to do any terrible acting for us? Gee, I wonder why it's unmanned. Seems to me they sent people back in like 1969 and the early 70s, but now it's just a computer rocket. Too dangerous to send people. We lost and destroyed that technology, and they're still trying to figure out how to get back there with people. So for now, computer rocket's all you get. We're going to get to all that. We'll go ahead and let everybody gather around here. All right, I think I missed the super chat already from my main man, PJ CNET, who usually likes to get us started. All right, so PJ CNET says, getting you started, I was a sucker to stay up and watch Artemis become a light in the sky before switching to CGI sim. No onboard launch footage. You know how they do it, man. They always switch away from that rocket to then like the rocket being like out in the blackness of outer space. They switch away to the booster coming off. They have all these camera cuts and edits in there. And so you never get like one clear shot of the thing like going into space, right? And if you go watch one live, you see your rocket take off, turn sideways, and then leave your view. So you never get to actually see it go to space. You should know that by now. See, guys, this isn't our first rodeo around here. For those of you who are new to my channel, I've been breaking down fake space missions and fake NASA bullshit for years, like 7 years. So this is the bread and butter of how my channel got started, was telling people about how NASA fakes space missions, such as the moon landing. And I'm wearing my lunar module shirt for good luck during the debunking tonight. There we go. So this is not our first rodeo, not our first rocket launch that we have broken down, right? All right, we already got our first block of the night. Okay, just in case we get any trolls in here who are like NASA fanboys or whatever, we'll go ahead and get rid of them. If we spot NASA fanboys who are clearly defending the fakery, trying to stir shit up in chat, you guys know what to do. All right. JL says, hope all be good. A fellow YouTuber said rockets are balloons because it moves up so slow, like a balloon compared to a firework or home rocket that shoots up instantly. Thoughts? I completely agree. I think we're looking at glorified blimps, basically air balloons. So it's like a blimp that is assisted by fireworks. Because if you've ever launched a model rocket with even like not even that strong of an engine, it still just shoots up there so fast. And you can tell that these rockets are not going that fast as one of your model rockets, but they claim that it's going faster. And they're like, oh, it's just because it's so big, it looks like it's going slow. Like, no, I can go to the Macy's Day Parade and see the big float animals full of air moving slowly down the street, just like I can see a rocket moving slowly upward. So when you launch a model rocket at home, right, if you've ever had a model rocket kit and set one up and then launched it, it's like, and that shit's like gone and out of sight that fast. And then it comes down on a little parachute, right? They want you to believe that these big rockets are going faster than that, man. But like they're so big, you just can't tell. So that's that. Calypso says, LOL facts. That's right. I like to give the LOL facts. I like to give you the facts and make you laugh at the same time. That's kind of what we do here. And again, this is a comedy routine. It's always a comedy routine. Any sort of truth that you take from this is all up to you. All right. Are you guys ready to get started? I'm thinking we'll start with the launch, and then towards the end of the stream, we'll talk some sports and stuff, because I know we got a lot of sports guys who watch me now. So we'll start with the rocket, and then later on in the stream, we'll talk a little sports action. All right. You guys ready to do this? Who's ready to rip apart some NASA fake-ass footage? You guys ready? I'm asking for your help. I don't want to be the only one doing the critiquing. What's fun about these live streams is you guys get a chance to spot stuff, point stuff out, make funny comments, and I will pull those up and show those accordingly. So having said that, I guess it's time. Pull this sumbitch up. All right. Faith says, and go. Sunflower says, ready. Kevalev Do QC says, is it a dick-shaped one? No, NASA rockets are more pointy, like a syringe. So NASA's got this like more of a syringe-style rocket. The SpaceX ones, or no, the Blue Origin ones are the dick-shaped rockets. So the Bezos dick-shaped rockets are the ones that go up to like the edge of space and then come right back down, where they use the vomit comet. So no, NASA likes their rockets to resemble the Jabberooski, if you know what I mean. All right. And away we go.
GLS scope or core stage to internal power.
The rocket's core stage, which houses the 3 flight computers, is now on battery power. So there is no more hold time available because there's no more margin on the batteries. So if we have a hold, we'd have to recycle back to T-minus 10 minutes and recharge those batteries. The count continues. A note now, shortly after liftoff.
1 minute.
Shortly after liftoff, Mission Control Houston will take control of the rocket, and my colleague, Leah Cheshire, will take over commentary. T-minus 50 seconds and counting. Coming up at T-minus 33 seconds, the GLS will hand off control to the ALS. This is the autonomous launch sequencer. On board the rocket, it will take over command and control of the rocket. But the ALS will check, make sure there's no holds coming from the ground up until T-minus 2
GLS
seconds.
is go for ALS.
And we are go for ALS. The Space Launch System is now counting down to liftoff of Orion on its maiden voyage to the moon. Launch team can no longer recycle the count. Sound suppressor water now flowing
15.
under the ML. And here we go.
10.
Hydrogen
TLS
burnoff
scope,
igniters
core stage engine
initiated.
start.
7, 6, 5. 4-stage engine start. 3. Cycle the count. Sound suppressor water now flowing
15.
under the ML. And here we go.
10.
Hydrogen
TLS
Okay, looks like we got some sparklers going off. Like, look at the sparklers they have shooting up into the rocket. They call those hydrogen burners. Is that what they called that? A hydrogen burner? Looks like a sparkler to me, right? JP Menger says, Happy 4th of July, right? I mean, couldn't they have made it a little more realistic than that? They had like something really shooting some fire with like a blue flame or something, you know, it would look like a legitimate burner, but they're just like a kid sparkler. And we're like, yeah, sure, man. They need the sparklers to shoot into the rocket. It helps. Greg J says WWE pyrotechnics. Yeah, this is like when Goldberg comes out to the ring, right? Right? Oh. Scheiden Whale says LMAO idiots actually believe all this space nonsense still. Oh yeah, for sure. And they even have dedicated shills like Simon Dan, who will probably make a video about this and be like, Jake the asshole thinks that these hydrogen burners look like sparklers. That's just personal incredulity. They're totally hydrogen burners. It's an unmanned rocket, of course, right? So Simon Dan will make a video like that, and supposedly it'll get like 100,000 views, and then a bunch of fanboys, like little robots, will come over and be like, Simon Dan debunked you. Those aren't sparklers. They're hydrogen burners, stupid. That's what they do. So Simon Dan, I swear, he'll just make a video saying that those aren't sparklers. And so therefore I'm debunked. That's what they do. That's how this whole game works. So whenever someone's like, Jake, so-and-so made a video about you, it's like, I have had so many videos made about me that it doesn't really affect me anymore. So when some little dipshit who's got less subs than me makes a video, I don't even care anymore. It doesn't bother me. Because there's people out there like Simon Dan who supposedly have like 500,000 subs. And he'll make a video about me, supposedly get 100,000 views. And then all these little robot minions show up and parrot bullshit. And so they have money and actors in place ready to attack me whenever I point out that this shit looks fake. Think about that. There is money and actors put in place and corporate sponsorship as well, because Simon Dan will do a commercial for Raycon earbuds and then tell people that he's debunking me and that those aren't sparklers, that they're hydrogen burners. I swear. Who else do you know gets this sort of treatment all the time? Let's continue.
Burn-off igniters initiate. 7, 6, 5. 4-stage engine start. 3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1. We rise together back to the moon and beyond. Three, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond. Ooh, so dramatic. Like scripted much? We rise together back to the moon and beyond. Really? With a computer unmanned rocket? What's this back to the moon shit? Seems to me if you went with people back in 1969, you know, this horse shit, then why can't you do it now, NASA? Well, we lost and destroyed that technology. It's a painful process to build it back up again. But we can send computer rockets that are unmanned. What's wrong, NASA? Are you chicken? Are you chicken, NASA? I'm calling you a chicken. You hear that? A person who doesn't think that the earth is a globe is calling you chicken. Why don't you send some men to the moon, huh? You two chicken shit. Chicken, NASA? NASA's chicken. Ha ha ha. Hey, everybody, you hear that? NASA's chicken. All a bunch of chicken shits. Hey, where's the brave astronauts who want to jump on the dick rocket and go to the moon? Who want to jump on the jab rocket and go to the moon? Where are they? Nobody's brave enough to try it. It's too dangerous. Can't do it. We lost and destroyed the technology, but we have computer rockets that can do it. Sure, man. Sure, dude. And guess what? Back in 1970, they had cell phones just like this, but now we have rotary phones, right? Oh, wait, no. Only space technology goes backwards. Imagine back in like 1970, you had this in your hand. A phone that does all the phone things that you love. And then by 1980, then you had a phone stuck on the wall. And then by 2020, you have a phone with a rotary dial stuck to the wall and a cord, right? That's what they want you to believe is happening with space technology, that it went backwards. Imagine if you had a car from today back in 1970, right? But then they got slower and shittier, and then now the best car you can get is a Gremlin, right? Oh wait, no. It only happens with space technology. That's the only thing that goes backwards. Angelo Zapp with a donation. Hey, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. All donations go to helping me carry on this channel. I am a professional YouTuber. I make a meager living. When you're not out to scam anybody, it's tough to get by doing this. So, and I don't have any corporate sponsors or any of that shit. So all the donations help. I appreciate that. So NASA, I'm calling you chicken. Why can't you get somebody on one of your rockets? Huh? Where are all the best astronauts that you have? You know, like the ones up in the space station pretending to be up there doing backflips and shit. Yeah, why don't you get those guys to go? Oh, you can't do that no more. You can only send computers, right? Seems to me they don't want to have to deal with the actors having to carry on that routine, or guys like me who are going to pick it apart and prove that it's bullshit. So now they're just going to send a computer rocket. What's the computer rocket going to do? Take pictures of the Earth, yawn, more pictures of the moon, yawn. So that's what we're going to get, some pictures of the Earth and some pictures of the moon. CGI pictures, of course. Bruce G says, Houston, we have a problem. Astronauts got radiated to death. Psych. Yeah, that's one of their funny excuses is there's a radiation belt and it can kill the astronauts. But somehow the ones in 1969 through the early 70s, they all made it through without getting fried. We think it's because we didn't know about it back then. And so therefore you need to know about the radiation belt for it to be able to kill you. And since they didn't know about it, it didn't affect them. personal incredulity. Hi, Rose. Glad you could make it. All right, let's continue. Let's continue.
Five engines on the core stage and 2 solid rocket boosters now propelling the vehicle at 128 miles per hour. Hearing good control on the roll from teams at Mission Control Houston. All good calls so far. Now 30 seconds into the flight of Artemis 1. First milestone will be for the vehicle to pass through max Q at about 1 minute and 9 seconds into launch. This is the greatest period of atmospheric force on the rocket. SLS now traveling 607 miles per hour. You're looking at 8.8 million pounds of maximum thrust. Quiet here in the loops in Mission Control. The 4 core stage engines are throttling down ahead of passing through max Q.
So lots of camera cuts. Anytime there's camera cuts, that's like, well, that's bullshit. There's like all these different edited camera cuts in perfect sequence, right? They don't even match up a lot of these shots. They just stitch all this shit together and people think it's one continuous shot. What are you even looking at? Somebody holding a flare? Right? This is like video of a flare. How the hell would you know? Right? They could doctor up footage of someone holding a flare and make it look like that on the screen. Rose says, we were just talking about this. Yeah, it happened like this morning or whatever. So people were telling me yesterday that I should do a video about it. So I thought tonight I would just go live. So I set up the stream like an hour and a half ago and just figured I'll just go live and show the stream. So apparently you didn't get a notification. YouTube doesn't always notify people. Make sure you have the little bell icon clicked and make sure you just check my page like each day because YouTube doesn't always send out notifications. They're notorious for that. They go as far as to unsubscribe people who've been subbed to me for years. So, you know, I don't put it past them for them to not notify people. All right, so we'll get back to this fake footage right here.
Now 1 minute, 21 seconds into the flight, traveling at 1,420 miles per hour. The 4 core stage engines are back at maximum thrust. The next major milestone will be for the solid rocket boosters to cut off and jettison at about 2 minutes and 11 seconds into the flight, so about 30 seconds from now. Again, quiet here in Mission Control Houston as teams continue monitoring the flight of Artemis 1. We're now 16 miles downrange from the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center, traveling over 2,800 miles per hour. Standing by for solid rocket booster jettison and shortly thereafter. Confirmation that the solid rocket boosters have separated these 177-foot boosters. Now the core stage continues to power the flight of Orion, all 4 RS-25 engines firing, traveling over 3,400 miles per hour, 46 miles downrange. 2 minutes and 36 seconds into the flight. Hearing nominal calls here in Mission Control Houston. We've still got 4 good engines on the core stage. Next up, we'll be looking for the service module fairing to separate. This is 3 15 by 15 foot fairing panels, providing structural support, protecting the service module. Those will separate at about.
Okay, what are we looking at? What is this, like Star Wars for Atari? Right? This is some sort of 1990s computer game, right? This is like one of those like floppy disk games for computer or some shit. I'm pretty sure this is something you would have played like on the old DOS RAM Microsoft old shit ass computers back in the early 90s at school. Remember when your school, like your class would go for computer day and you would all sit in the computer room and you would play stupid ass games that look like this, right? And this is what they're using to convince the public that they're going to the moon with a computer rocket, man. Yeah, man, just throw some green shit up there, right? Some Atari graphics. The sheep will buy it. I mean, of course that can't be fake. It has to be real because Fight the Flat Earth Craig, his man tits said so. But bang. All right. Neo Nokia says this may be Nintendo. Ruler of the Undersky percentage says Oregon Trail goes to space. The coolest dad ever says 1988 computer graphics. Yes, all those perfect examples of what I'm talking about. JL says asteroid game. Exactly. Now, I actually have a game that looks like that on a system called the Vectrex. In fact, I think I have it right down here. I'm going to show it to you. Look at this. How many people have ever seen one of these? You ever seen one of these? Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at this. What you're looking at on screen with the NASA shit, that's what we played back in the late 80s on this thing called the Vectrex. We played games that look like that. Look at this. Look at this shit. Vectrex. This is a vintage piece of equipment right here. I just happened to have it laying over on the floor because I was reorganizing shit. And somebody brought up the old graphics. Ethan Pantalakos says ColecoVision. Yeah, basically we're looking at old shitty video game graphics that they're going to pass off as 2022 space travel. Very arrogant, these evil doers. They think that sheeple are so stupid that they will buy this. And they are correct.
3 minutes and 11 seconds into flight, and very shortly thereafter will be followed by the launch abort system separation. Just over 3 minutes into the flight of Artemis 1, now traveling over 4,060 miles per hour, 83 miles downrange. We just had confirmation that the service module fairing has separated. And that the launch abort system pyros have fired, separating those from Orion as well. For future crew members,
All right. I did miss that, so I didn't even look at that shit or read it over there on the side. Yeah, there is the sixes over there. So over on the right of the screen, you got the 66666.0 over there. Good eye, guys. I totally missed that. Wasn't even looking at it. I was too busy making my joke about the video games that I missed it. That's why I like having an audience to spot things just in case I miss it while we're live. Neo Nokia says NASA is SpaceX. LOL. Yes. Don't think that there's any difference between NASA, SpaceX, or Blue Origin. Anything that goes to space is part of government. There is nobody going to space who's not tied back to the government. So basically, anyone claiming to go to the space who's tied back to the government, they're always going to be full of shit, just like the government. So don't think that like Elon Musk and SpaceX are any different from NASA. In fact, they work hand in hand with NASA. Same deal with Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic or anyone or anything that'll ever claim to go to space. They're working alongside with government entities. All right, so we'll go ahead and continue.
Separated about 3 minutes and 11 seconds into flight, and very shortly thereafter will be followed by the launch abort system separation. Just over 3 minutes into the flight of Artemis 1, now traveling over 4,060 miles per hour, 83 miles downrange. We just had confirmation that the service module fairing has separated. And that the launch abort system pyros have fired, separating those from Orion as well. For future crew members, we just heard the call for 3-engine press, meaning if SLS were to lose an engine at this point in the mission, we could still achieve a nominal mission. We would just have an extended main engine cutoff time. However, we still have 4 good engines.
Okay, well, that clearly right there is CGI. They better not even be trying to pass that off as real at all, because that right there is a straight up cartoon. That's some Disney looking shit right there. So they don't even, if they don't say, here's a CGI clip that we're showing you right now, it's like if they don't come forward and admit that what they're showing us right there is CGI, then they're definitely just intentionally going to let people believe that a cartoon is real. Like, I don't even know why they would be showing that right there. They could have stuck with the road flare. Now they just went straight to the cartoon shot. They're not even saying that this is just a graphic. Like, they should say this is just a graphic. They haven't said anything like that. Mad Dog says that's crazy fake. Yeah, see, this right here, like, even sheeple should know that that's a computer graphic. But if they don't say it's a computer graphic, they'll let the sheeple just believe that that's all part of the show, man. That's all part of the actual launch. Alvin Ducarry says, WTF, who took that picture? Yeah, like, who's the camera person in all these shots that has all these things synced up, centered right in the middle of the screen? They have all this stuff perfectly sequenced and choreographed. You ever try to like film like a moving object in the air and it gets out of your frame when you're trying to film it? But they want to have you believe they have every single shot perfectly centered in frame. Sure, man. Okay, let's see if they come forward and say that this is a CGI graphic or not. I bet they don't.
All at maximum thrust right now, powering the first flight of Artemis at 5,200 miles per hour, 148 miles downrange. We're 4 minutes and 16 seconds into the flight of Artemis 1. So far, we've had a clean ascent. We saw those solid rocket boosters jettison about 2 minutes and 11 seconds after liftoff. Shortly after, we had the service module panels fairings separate, as well as the launch abort system. The launch abort system was inert for this flight, except to perform this separation. Those 4 core stage engines will continue to fire and power the flight of Artemis 1, now traveling over 6,800 miles per hour, 229 miles downrange. Booster flight controller reports that the engines are looking good.
Okay, no mention that that was a CGI graphic right there. So they just went ahead and just showed that and kept on talking about, like, as if you're looking at a regular launch. And then they made this cut to what? A dot? A dot on the screen. Yeah, Jake, that's what it looks like. Don't you know anything about science? Duh. Looks totally realistic to me. Personal incredulity. Jake the asshole thinks that that doesn't look like a rocket going into space. It looks extremely much like a rocket to me. You can very much see the detail. Personal incredulity. Right? It's like, heaven forbid if someone was to criticize this footage and say, oh, I don't know, that's a dot. How do I know that's a rocket going to space? And you know what? People will attack you. Of course it's a rocket going to space. Why would they lie about something like that? Y'all know what I mean. You guys deal with people the same way I deal with people. That's the type of shit people say. Yeah, NASA's like, okay, here's a cartoon rocket. Now here's a little dot. Space. We're going to the moon without people. Ooh. To space and beyond, together we go. As one nation we stand, looking at a dot on the screen.
Our core stage main engine cutoff time is about 8 minutes and 3 seconds. We are now at 5 minutes and 11 seconds into the flight, 7,656 miles per hour. Again, 4 good core stage engines, those 4 RS-25 engines. The last time those core stage engines flew, they were taking space shuttles to orbit, and now with upgraded capabilities, they're launching the future of human spaceflight. Five minutes and 42 seconds into the mission, we are now traveling 8,800 miles per hour, 345 miles downrange from the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center. Again, we are anticipating core stage main engine cutoff at about 8 minutes and 3 seconds. And about 10 seconds later, we'll see core stage separation, at which point Orion and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage will be flying free. Now traveling over 10,000 miles per hour, 6 minutes and 15 seconds into the flight of Artemis 1, 427 miles downrange. Quiet here on the loops in Mission Control Houston. Teams continue to monitor this first flight. About a minute and a half now until that core stage main engine cutoff time. Our 4 core stage engines continue to fire maximum thrust. Coming up on 7 minutes since launch today, now traveling over 12,800 miles per hour, 563 miles downrange. Again, still quiet here in Mission Control Houston. As we prepare for main engine cutoff, the 4 RS-25 engines are beginning to throttle down. 30 seconds now until core stage main engine cutoff. All 4 engines continue to throttle down. Now 7 minutes 45 seconds into the flight, traveling over 16,000 miles per hour. Continuing to hear good calls here in Mission Control Houston. We're standing by for core stage main engine cutoff. And we have confirmation of core stage main engine cutoff. Orion is now in Earth's orbit. The flight dynamics officer reports that we have a nominal main engine cutoff. And we just heard the call for core stage separation. That means Orion and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage are now flying free from the core stage of the Space Launch System. The next milestone will be solar array deploy approximately 18 minutes after liftoff. But before Orion stretches its wings, let's check back in with our friends at Kennedy Space Center and hear all about what it was like to hear the rocket roar off the launch pad. Megan and Kayla, I've got to hear all about it.
It appears they left us hanging. They're like, screw the audience. We'll just go quiet for a while. Show them this picture of the office. That's what they do at NASA. Look, they're working hard, guys. They're working hard. No, that's what this is the footage that NASA's showing you. There is no audio coming out right now. This is I didn't turn it down or nothing. This is all what they showed. Like, why would they even be showing this footage right here anyway? It's weird. Oh yeah, those guys are all working hard, man. Each one of those people has a really important job. If one of those guys was to press the wrong key on the keyboard, the whole rocket would just explode. Very important job. You have to be highly qualified to do what these people are doing. PJ CNET says, have you seen the supposed images of Earth yet? Yeah, I saw some the other day with the latest Blue Origin fake hoax. I already did like 5 or 6 Blue Origin videos, so I feel like if I make another one, I'm just going to repeat myself. But basically, that's what it always is. It's just me repeating myself.
To that, the spacecraft was running on.
See, there the audio came back. I don't understand. Yeah, see, they just cut the audio out there for a huge chunk. It wasn't me.
Battery power, but stretching these wings will allow it to stop relying on those batteries and significantly extend the time it can stay in space. So solar array deploy takes about 12 minutes. We have 4 solar arrays that we need to deploy and latch. These will provide power to the spacecraft on its journey to distant retrograde orbit and all the way back to Earth. Once these are properly configured, again, Orion will no longer need to rely solely on battery power. And we expect this to be done about 30 minutes after liftoff. Right now, we're 19 minutes since liftoff today. Orion is now traveling 17,175 miles per hour. We're continuing to hear good calls here in Mission Control Houston from the flight controllers monitoring the mission. A little bit about these solar arrays as we wait. Again, we heard the call that the deploy has been initiated. We'll hear a little bit more about that once they start to unfold. These 4 solar arrays generate 11 kilowatts of power, which is enough electricity to power 2 3-bedroom houses, and they have a wingspan of 63 feet. Just one of these 6.5 by 6.5 foot panels has 1,250 solar cells. So you're looking at a total of 15,000 solar cells. Coming up on 22 minutes since liftoff today, Orion and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage traveling over 16,800 miles per hour. The solar arrays deploying now are part of the European service module. It's comprised of 20,000 parts and components. The service module was developed as part of an agreement between NASA and the European Space Agency, or ESA. This is the first time NASA is using a European-built system as a critical element to power an American spacecraft.
Okay, is it just me, or does that not look very well made? Like, does it look like it's got some crinkly shit going on the side? It looks like the metal's like crinkly. It's really weird. That doesn't look like something that's super well made. It's like the inside of the space station. Why do they leave all the wires and everything dangling and hanging and looking like shit? It's like they want you to believe that shit is really high tech, even though we have cars that are way more sleek and better looking than anything like that, right? Airplanes that are way more sleek and better looking. So you're telling me cars and airplanes designed to be like aerodynamic, like those are sleek, better looking. They aren't built like that. But then when it comes to space, you have like something that looks like it was built still back in the 60s, 50s or some shit. It's really weird. JL says, I say made in China. All right, now we'll get to that picture of the Earth.
We are in solar array deploy, and we have confirmation all 4 arrays are deployed.
That's generally what they give you in an obstructed view of the Earth. Look, guys, you see the curvature down there? Flat Earth debunked, man. See the curvature? That's how you know that the Earth is wound, because of that little curvature down there. You know, the stuff that's obstructed in the view. Don't pay attention to that. Like, why would they put a camera that gets obstructed by all that shit like that? It's so stupid. They always have shit hanging in the way like that. Like, see our space gear? Because we're in space? We put the camera obstructed by space gear and stuff so that when we show you the Earth, you can also see that we have, you know, a rocket here and stuff, and we're in space. So those are your pictures of the Earth, man. Yeah. Calypso says, here's 2% of ball Earth. Yeah. Yeah, Fight the Fat Ass Craig and Simon Dan are like, that's proof. You have no proof that that's not real. You have no proof that that's CGI. Did you go to CGI school? Do you have a degree in CGI? Well, then you can't say it's CGI. Angel Raven 444 says space is rigged just like the NFL. Yes, and I can even make a comparison later on tonight that none of you guys are thinking about. Has to do with the Earth being a ball and has to do with pretend sports. Gotta love how they always have this shit hanging in the way. Like, let's make sure that this bag thing or whatever this thing is hanging in front of the camera. People would like to see that.
Coming up in a little less than 30 minutes is the perigee raise maneuver. We caught a glimpse there of those solar arrays, and with all 4 solar arrays properly deployed, Orion's journey to the moon continues, and we've got more operational updates coming up shortly, but for now, I'm going to toss it back to Megan and Kayla at Kennedy.
And it looks like they just keep on doing the same stupid 4 shots over and over again. Like they have this shot, and then they have this shot with a white background. Then they have the shot with the little piece of the earth, and then they come back to this again. And they're like, see? We'll just keep showing them the same 3 pictures over and over again. So look at all the different shots that they included to trick people into thinking that they're going back to the moon. Like, that was like, what, 15, 20 different shots? Easily 10 plus, right? Think of all the cuts and all the different, we had the road flare, we had the Atari game shit, we had the dot on the screen, we had the CGI rocket, and then we had this piece right here, several others too. So if you just think of all that they showed us, it was like a hodgepodge of just a bunch of different shit that they collaged together. Aurora with some laughing emojis. Oh, you think this is funny? You think this is a joke? What am I, like a clown to you? Like I'm here to make you laugh? JL says Atari was fun. If you say so. So like I said, it was like they just like took this hodgepodge of different clips and just kind of stuck them all together. And they're like, it doesn't have to be cohesive. None of them have to match. We'll just go from showing them, you know, an Atari video game graphic to then a dot on the screen to then some white thing that takes up the screen. Then we'll have some bag blocking part of the earth. They won't know. They won't care. They'll believe it. Jay Cook the Thief says, bro, press play. Well, I will, but I already skipped ahead towards the end. It looks like they're just going to keep repeating these same pictures. Watch, I'll put it in fast motion. See? White background now. Artemis. Back to this shot with the Earth. Artemis. Oh, now we get a shot of the back of the rocket. Artemis. And now back to this again. Yeah, man, it has to be real. All those shots totally match up. It's seamless. Geno X says, looks legit. You flat earthers hate science. That's what it is, man. It's just my hatred of science. This stuff looks so real that I just have to call it fake because I'm so dumb. Look, they're just using the same photos over, the same little snippets over and over again. Yeah, see, I didn't want you guys to think that like I was like leaving anything out or that you're missing anything. They're literally just giving us like 4 screens over and over and over again. I'll skip towards the end and see if we've missed anything, but I think that pretty much does it, y'all. Yep, that was it. You saw it. Because the entire first part of this is just the rocket sitting on the pad. I'm not going to make you guys watch the rocket sit on the pad. So we saw the entire launch there. All right, so what do you guys think? Was that a more realistic rocket launch than other ones you've seen, or is that a less realistic rocket launch? Like, did NASA like appear to have gotten better at faking it, or did it look like they don't even give a shit anymore and they're getting worse at faking? What do you guys think? Tanya D says, I want my money back. That's the thing, yeah, you have to take that up with the government. Maybe they'll send you a check if you complain hard enough. I doubt it, though. The coolest dad ever says, major worse. RBJS says, same. Really? I think they're getting worse. I think some of the other launches are a little, like the shots are a little more cohesive. Like the shots weren't even cohesive with that one. That was like one of the stupidest ones I've ever seen. PJ CNET with a donation said, today they showed a distant Earth and a dummy inside. A distant Earth and a dummy inside? Huh. I'm not sure what you mean. Rose says it looks the same. Maybe some of you guys are used to seeing terrible NASA stuff, so this is just par for the course. To me, it was like they didn't take any time to try and make those shots cohesive at all. And so this time, like, they just kind of stitched together just a bunch of weird random clips. Yunt David Lee says, about as fake as my ex's orgasms. But a ping. Hey, yout David Lee. That's a good one-liner there. Why was your ex faking it, bro? Were you not giving it to her properly? Ooh, snap, burn. Just kidding. I'm sure you were giving it to her properly. Bear of the Roses says, it looks like a gay robot dick from an anime. That too? That too. Sam Parmalee says, they know the sheep will eat anything. Exactly. See, most sheep aren't going to look at that footage. They might hear that they're going back to the moon, but they aren't going to like go watch it, critique it, and analyze it. They don't even have that thought cross their mind. They're not like, yeah, I'm going to go watch that footage and see if it's legitimate or not. No sheeple ever thinks to do research about anything because they think that if something, major, conspiracy was going on, that the news would have came and told them already. Somebody would have said something, right? That's everyone's favorite thing to say. Like, well, if they were faking space, Don't you think somebody would have came forward and said anything by now? Well, if they were faking NFL games and rigging games, don't you think somebody would have came forward and said anything by now? That's what they say. That's their favorite thing to say. Well, how come somebody hasn't came on the news and personally informed me? If they don't come on the news and personally inform me and spoon feed me the truth, well, then I just don't think that that's true, because somebody would have told me and spilled the beans by now. Aurora thinks that's funny. So I amuse you? I'm like a clown now? I'm here for your amusement? Sunflower is also thinking it's funny, and Mr. Matt as well. I am Lord Sri Sri Harihara. Says that voice is legendary. Yeah, I like to make up lots of voices on the spot. There are other pretenders who try and do voices and be funny like me, and they fail miserably. Oh, yeah, man, sheep don't do research. That's the thing, is if you tell a sheep that they don't do research, they'll get mad at you and be like, yes, I do. And then you'll be like, name something that you researched, and they won't be able to. So usually there's people who will show up. Lately, the most popular comment that people have been saying about the NFL is like, somebody would have came forward and said something by now. And that's the same thing they were saying about the NASA employees, that somebody would have came forward and said something by now. Like if you're going to spill the beans, like you're just going to like start blowing a whistle and the news is just going to show up with a camera, film you, and put it on the nightly news for everyone to see. It's like, no, nobody's going to come out, spill the beans, and have the news cover it. Anything that the news covers is usually all bullshit, lies. Ibster Kirk says, yeah, what would RFB say? Oh,
Richie from Boston. Let me tell you what. I recently saw an angel in the sky. There was a cloud formation that looked exactly like an angel, which means that the angels are going to be coming back soon. You better repent and get right with God. All right? They're trying to break through the firmament with these rockets. All right? And they're going to unleash evil demons. All right? The evil demons are going to unleash Chinese nano robots that are able to slip inside your asshole without you even noticing. All right? And then these nanobots implant themselves in the inner lining of your asshole. All right? And then they give you nanorobot AIDS. All right? If you don't get right with God and repent right now, well, I don't even have to tell you where you're going. But at any rate, I digress. So like, share, subscribe, or don't.
There you go. Is that not the best Richie from Boston impression in the world? You go find me someone doing a better one, and I'll pay that person. I'll send that person money. I'll be like, oh my God, you deserve my money. But that person doesn't exist. I basically have been told that I do a better Richie from Boston than Richie from Boston himself. To which I agree. The coolest dad ever says master comedian. I hate to brag. Actually, I love to brag. I am the funniest comedian in the world. All your mainstream comedians are controlled. Cut puppets. Pushing the mainstream narrative, right? Like the fake person who's pretending to be Dave Chappelle. He's got some writers coming up with his lame-ass jokes. That's not the original Dave Chappelle. So if you look at the world of comedy, just like any major facet of the entertainment industry, it's controlled. So when you look at a comic like myself, who's not controlled, doesn't play by their rules, doesn't participate in the world stage, and in fact calls it out and turns that into a joke, I mean, I can't think of a single person who does it better than me. Otherwise, I would watch that person and tell you guys to go watch that person. That person doesn't exist because I am that person. I am the funniest, most edgy, awesome comedian in the world, and I prove it over and over and over again. When people say, well, how come you're not rich and famous like Dave Chappelle? Because Hollywood is controlled. You can't have your own HBO comedy special if you aren't part of that club and tie back to Hollywood. They aren't just going to pluck some random conspiracy comedian who's telling the truth and give me a big stage to tell the truth. No. They've got their own controlled COINTELPRO like Alex Jones and such, who they can put on a bigger stage to tell half-truths, quarter-truths. Oh shit, now I'm all glitchy. What the fudge is up with that? All right. Fusion Density says they would try and put Jake in a dress. Oh yeah, the Hollywood shame ritual, right? iJag9 says small hat Jays indeed. Small hat Jays indeed. Angel Raven 444 says not part of the club. Excuse me. It's a big club and he's not in it. Yes, correct. I don't have corporate sponsorship. I'm not backed by any sort of label or anything like that. I've never been in any movie or television show. So I'm not part of the world stage at all. In fact, I call out the world stage and expose it for being a big giant show. And so for that reason, I'm basically barred from Hollywood, to where even if I went and tried to try out and blew away the competition for whatever it was, an acting job, singing job, whatever, they wouldn't want me because they would find my channel and be like, we can't hire this guy. He's got a big mouth and won't shut up. And he's got this moral compass where he likes to do the right thing and expose evil. Can't have a guy like that working for us. So they don't like to find guys like me and promote guys like me. And if I was to show up to a tryout, I doubt very seriously that they would want someone like me. They would sniff out the goodness inside of me, and they would not want me. Same way, like if someone wants me to be like a juror on a trial, once they figure out who I am and what I'm about, they immediately dismiss me because they don't want me to be a juror on the trial. Because I'm not going to go along with their crooked little game. And I make it very clear, which is why I've never served on a jury duty. For the same reason I'm never going to be in a Hollywood movie or TV show. Go Within to Get Out says, what's your take on the small hat conspiracy? I do think there are some evil elite J's running some things, but I don't like to pin it all on them squarely because I personally think at the tippity top of this thing might not be humans controlling this thing, but might be something even more sinister and evil that I don't even know what it is. So at the tippitiest of the tippity top pyramid, I feel like there is something more evil than a human that is in control. And I don't think it's just the Jays. However, when it comes to like the Jays, I will say I don't think for a second that the man with the mustache killed 6 million Jays and burned them all to a crisp and gassed them all. Not for a second. Inflated number doesn't make sense. If you were to do the math on how long it takes to gas a person, put the body in like a fireplace and burn it to a crisp into nothing. Like if you were to take the time to dispose of a body and go through all those steps and then times that times 6 million, what you would end up with is an amount of time to where they would still be doing it right now to this day. They would still be burning them bodies. Understand? So that's why, like someone like me, and I have to say this all very carefully, and it's a comedy routine, I don't think that the man with the mustache and the story that we're told is legit. At the same time, I'm not going to go completely overboard and say that the man with the mustache is a hero and he's Walt Disney or anything like that, because we're lied to about so much that when it comes to history, I'm like, a bunch of bullshit. Can't verify any of it. Anything that happened before I was born, just take it with a grain of salt. So there you go. There's a little piece for you. And people have tried to call me out and say, like, how come you don't expose the Jays? It's like, I have talked about it. I just can't go too much into detail about it because, you know, they've set the table up to call that hate speech, remove videos that are considered hate speech. So I have to do this comedy routine in a way that isn't considered hate speech, which I'm pretty good at doing. As you can see, I've been on here for 7 years and haven't been taken out yet. So I must be doing something right. Whereas other people will say certain things and purposely get their channel taken down and then bitch that they've been censored. All right. Steve Tomato says, as always, 100%, Jake. That's the only way I know, man. I give it to you guys from the heart. I don't candy coat shit. I don't give you, you know, the cupcake version of the story. So I am one of those guys who tells it like it is. And I do this all off the cuff, off the cusp, off the cuff. Live action says truth. JP Menger says amen. Oh. Gingalo says cupcakes. Faith says I've almost had jury duty 5 times. They never want me on a jury. I would love to do jury duty. It would be so much fun. I don't want to be stuck having to go to a place and have them tell me where to be or any. I don't want anyone owning a minute of my time. So what I do now, I throw the jury duty thing in the trash. I never got it in the mail. And guess what happens? Nothing. Whereas when I was younger and more naive, I would show up to those things. And then they would even sometimes run me through the process of asking me questions and go through the selection process. But they didn't like my answers that I would give, so they would dismiss me. Then I figured out that if they send you a notice, there's nothing they can do. Have you ever heard of anyone like, I did some hard time because I didn't go to the jury duty thing? No. So basically, when you get a jury duty summons in the mail, you just throw it in the trash. That's what you do. Pepperoni Bear says, LMAO, I do the same thing. And nothing happens. Exactly. Like, what are they going to say? Like, we're going to make you do prison time and a $10,000 fine. You're in so much trouble. It's like, what if you didn't get it in the mail? How can they prove it? What they expect is a bunch of idiots to show up, because a bunch of idiots do show up. And if you show up, well, then you're just willingly participating in their charade. So if you show up and willingly participate in the charade, your chances are much higher than the 0% as if you just throw it away. It's people like my stupid sheep family that'll be like, oh, you're going to go to jail. Oh my God. No, you won't. Calypso says, I'm going to do that if I ever get a notice. One time they sent me one for a federal jury duty. It wasn't one at my local county. It was a federal one, an hour and a half away in Fresno, California. So I lived in Modesto at the time, and they were trying to get me to go to Fresno for a federal case. And that's the day I looked up on Google, read a bunch of people's comments, and I kept finding people who were like, I never went. And nothing happened. And I read over and over and over and over from people online, testimonials of people saying that they never showed up and nothing happened. And that was the day I decided I'm not driving an hour and a half and being part of this, like just for them to dismiss me. And then an hour and a half back, 3 hours. Screw that. That's a day that I'm missing. And so like it comes down to them preying on stupid people to willingly partake in it. Just like you willingly partake in the Jabberooski. If you're stupid enough to willingly take the Jabberoo, well, then you deserve what happens to you. But Jake, my job said I had to. You're still willingly participating because they're not forcing you. Calypso says, yes, screw that. Exactly. And that's how I figured out some of these things, is by like, okay, nothing happened. It's been years since I threw away that federal one and didn't show up to Fresno. Nothing happened. So why the hell would I ever open another damn thing that comes from them? Live action says Trump is a puppet. Yes, indeed. All the presidents are puppets. There is no politician on your side. Trump's not a politician. He's a businessman. Idiots, morons. There's no Trump to help you. There's no Q to help you. There is no plan. We don't do that around here. So anyone new to my channel, we don't do the trusting the plan thing. We don't pretend like one presidential candidate is a good guy and one's a bad. We don't do that. They're all bad guys on the same team. So we don't treat one like he's good and the other like he's bad. Instagram brainwashed sheep said Trump said he's going to put a flag on Mars. Yeah, the funny thing is they're talking about Mars when they still can't get people back on the moon. To me, they got to go back to the moon with people before they even try to act like Mars is even in the realm of a possibility. I mean, we know it's all fake, but it's like they're so jumping the shark. Like, what are you going to like do a manned mission to Mars but not do a manned mission to the moon? So stupid. I like how they keep pushing back the dates. In 2025, we're going to go. In 2028, we're going to go. All right, 2050. AS Dog says, LMAO, and people think football isn't rigged. You know, that brings me to my next point. Here, let me make a connection here that nobody's made that I know of. So anyone who steals this is stealing it from me. So sports and the fake space and the shape of the world, it all goes hand in hand. Sports is a big, giant distraction from you figuring out what the world really is and how bad you're getting screwed and how much you're being lied to. And so what they do is they start early, and they even have a professional sports entertainment team known as the Harlem Globetrotters. Who here has heard of the Harlem Globetrotters? This is where fake space, the fake shape of the earth, and fake sports all meet. Harlem Globetrotters. There's people who watch my channel who are in the UK and Australia and other places in the world. So not everyone who watches me is American. So just in case you haven't heard of the Harlem Globetrotters, in America, we have a sports entertainment team that plays basketball, and they put on a pretend basketball game, a rigged and scripted game that includes comedy skits. And the basketball team is known as the Harlem Globetrotters, and they wear the colors of the American flag as their team colors, red, white, and blue. And during the scripted basketball game, they have little comedy skits and stuff that break out, and they make a bunch of trick shots and do trick dunks. And the whole thing is for entertaining children. So adults know that a Harlem Globetrotters game is scripted and pretend. So adults take their children to watch the Harlem Globetrotters, and the children, young children, believe that it's an actual basketball game. But the adults know it's just a pretend basketball game. And they have a mascot for the kids to shake hands with and meet at halftime and before and after the game called Globey. So they have a mascot that's a walking, talking globe. He's got a big globe on his head. So the mascot for the Globetrotters is the globe. Now, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like if you ever go to a Globetrotters game. I've been to a Globetrotters game when I was an early teenager, like 12 or 13. My dad took me to one. And I knew it wasn't a real game, but it was entertaining to watch these guys play a pretend game. So we're going to watch a little bit of the Harlem Globetrotters, and then I'm going to make some connections that no other person is making but me. All right, I can already see people saying they've never heard of the Harlem Globetrotters. Okay, the Harlem Globetrotters are a sports entertainment. It's a professional team. They charge money to get in to watch this. You have to pay for a ticket. They are a money-making organization. However, the game they play is pretend, and it's knowingly pretend for any adult watching. It's for children. And so what they do is they have the Harlem Globetrotters play the Washington Generals. And it's basically like having a good wrestler beat the shit out of a crappy wrestler. And so the Harlem Globetrotters will do all these fancy moves and fancy dunks and trick shots, and they beat the Washington Generals every single night. So every night that they put this show on, the Harlem Globetrotters will win this matchup. Okay, so just to put this in perspective for anyone who's never heard of this, they still do this today. They've been doing this for a long time. I think it goes back to like the 60s even. And what they do is they just they change the players out every few years and hire new players. So the people who were doing it 10 years ago are not the same people today. I think they even get some former like college basketball players and stuff, and they get some good athletes to actually play these games. So I'm going to show you at certain points of the basketball game, it's a comedy skit. And then at certain points of the game, it looks like a real game. It looks like they're playing real basketball.
Watch your mouth, boy. Yeah, watch your mouth, boy. Get this on video.
Okay, so they have moments where the Washington Generals will make a three-pointer or hit a good shot. They have moments where the Globetrotters miss shots. So they make it look like it's a real game. And guess what? They are kind of playing basketball at certain points. So they're going to play real basketball, kind of, and then they're going to mix in comedy routines and then give the Globetrotters different opportunities to hit their flashy dunks and stuff. But if you take away the comedy routine and you just watch the basketball, it looks like a real game, kind of. Do you follow? I hope you do. So for instance, that whole sequence right there was totally a scripted like little skit where they made the team look silly, right? Now they're going to go back to playing kind of real basketball for a minute. So what they do is they mix in these little scripted parts into the game, but then they have sections where they're actually playing kind of real basketball. So this is what they're doing in the NFL, y'all. They're running plays that are kind of real. Players are making tackles. It's kind of real football, but it's not an actual sports contest. So you could show clips of this to someone who's not really a sports fan and be like, look, this is a basketball game. And they wouldn't know that it's scripted unless they paid close attention.
Get the ball already. These guys cannot shoot.
So here we have one player giving another player a wedgie, which makes all the kids laugh, of course, right? You guys following now? So some of you guys aren't following what's going on here. I'm making a point with scripted sports here. So this is a pretend game that they put on where it looks like they're kind of playing real basketball. But then they have these comedy skits where the player gives another player a wedgie. Now watch, he's going to give the ref a wedgie next. And the player stole the ref's underwear and is waving the ref's underwear around. So this is the type of shit that lets you know it's not a real game, obviously. So, Mr. Matt, yeah, I'm not too into b-ball. Bro, you're missing the point. Bruce gets it. You're missing the point, dude. The NFL is the Harlem Globetrotters, except you have 32 teams who are the Harlem Globetrotters, minus the comedy skits for adults. Ta-da! That's the NFL. The NFL is 32 Harlem Globetrotter style teams playing pretend football, minus the guys pulling the underwear off the ref. So take away the wedgies and guys pulling the underwear off the ref, and you have the NFL being exactly what you're looking at on the screen, except it's designed to trick adults instead of children. Do you get it now, Mr. Matt? Who doesn't get it? Oh, he says he was talking to people in chat. Okay, I'm like, dude, how can you not be getting what I'm laying down? Like, I'm making like the most powerful observation in rig sports right here and laying it down like you will never hear. Nobody's going to show you this and say this. It's never going to come on TV. Nobody else is as smart as me to fucking show it to you like this. So listen up. There's 32 NFL teams who are all the Harlem Globetrotters, and they're all the Washington Generals at the same time. They make spectacular one-handed catches, and they dive and miss tackles and look like idiots. They throw amazing touchdown passes, and they throw in the triple coverage on purpose. Do you understand? It's the Harlem Globetrotters for adults. If you hear anyone else say that, they stole it from me. Des Sherwood Guitar Tuition says, surprise, there's not 33 NFL teams. They're probably going to add a team in London. That's why they're pushing the league in Europe so hard. They're going to probably have a team in London before long. They might move a team to London, or they might just create a whole new team. But they're really trying to push the NFL in the UK. They want the people over in Europe to be just as brainwashed and drunk as stupid as the fans here in the United States. And they think that they've got a more exciting product than football, soccer. They think American football is definitely going to be the product of choice for people worldwide. Stefano Biscuit says there's comedy skits in the NFL, though. Yeah, but not like the one we watched. Like, you can't watch that guy give a player a wedgie, then give the ref a wedgie and pull out his underwear and think that it's real, right? Only a 5-year-old kid would think that that's real. Whereas, like, if they tried to do that in the NFL, even the stupidest, drunkest fans would figure out that it's fake. So we can't say that it's just as fake as the Harlem Globetrotters, because that would be an over-exaggeration. So until we see a player pull the ref's underwear off and wave it around, we have to say that it's not quite as bad as the Harlem Globetrotters. But just the fact that that they have a globe as their logo, the Harlem Globetrotters, and it's a fake pretend game. And then you have fake pretend regular sports. To me, I find this connection to be very interesting, because I've been fascinated by the fact that the world is not a globe, And now I'm fascinated by the fact that all these sports are fake and people don't see it. Here you have fake sports and the globe and duping children all in one thing.
Is that Jimmy Butler? Is that Jimmy Butler? No. Oh, you're big. Bro, you're big. Bro, you look like Larry.
All right, here I'm going to make another great point. People will say, Jake, bro, I think you might be right about the NFL being rigged. But it's not the players, man. It's the refs. And if it is the players, then only maybe a few are involved, but not all of them. Oh, yeah? How many of these guys are playing real basketball? Do you think that there's somebody on the court that's not in on this game being pretend? That's how stupid people sound to me when they tell me not everyone's in on it. Jake, man, I agree that the NFL's rigged, but it's the refs. The players are trying their hardest, I swear. And if it is players, then it's only like maybe like one or two. That's the stupidest horse shit that I have to answer in all of my rigged videos over and over and over. Yeah, man. And some of these Washington Generals are playing real basketball and trying their hardest. And they're just getting beat by the Globetrotters who pull off their underwear and stuff, man. Sure, dude. It's as stupid as thinking that, oh, not all the wrestlers in WWE are in on it. There's some guys who think it's a real fight and they're trying their hardest to fight and win. Only a few wrestlers are in on it, Jake. No, it's just the refs. That's how stupid it is. In every single video, bar none, I get that. Well, the games might be rigged, but it's not the players. The refs. Such stupid horse shit. Like you can overcome the refs screwing you if you just play hard enough. Sure, dude. Sure. So that's why I'm bringing out the Harlem Globetrotters, because everybody on that court and the refs and the coaches and all the people who make it happen are all in on it. And if you were to ask them, hey, are you guys playing a real game? They're going to be like, yeah. If a kid was to walk up to one of these players and say, is this game real? Are you guys really playing? They're going to lie and be like, yeah. Just like if you ask a pro wrestler if they're really fighting, they're going to tell you in character, yes. The difference is you can't bet on a Globetrotters game. You can't bet on a WWE match. You can't bet on these scripted things. No. But you can bet on the NFL. Funny how that is. It's because they've got 32 teams to trick you with. So yeah, here's my example that I really like. And to my knowledge, I'm the only one who's broke it down like this. The NFL is the Harlem Globetrotters meets football times 32 for adults, minus the over-the-top comedy skits. Stefano Biscuit says, Jake, do you think it's fully scripted in the NFL, or they let them play for a bit and have a decided outcome like the WWE will do? WWE generally doesn't send guys to the ring without a planned ending. So generally they know the ending before they're getting in the ring. They will let wrestlers call matches on the fly. They don't have every single move and sequence scripted out. So good wrestlers can talk to each other, call a match on the fly, and essentially make up the whole match except for the planned out ending. So in the NFL, what I think you can have is if you have two teams like evenly matched, they could send them out there and say, hey guys, we're not sure who's going to win this one yet, but we'll let you know sometime after halftime once the live bets come in. So if money was even on a team and then they wanted to send the two teams out there, have them like keep the score tight and then see what kind of money comes in on the live betting, then they can even tell the team, all right, a bunch of money came in on this side, so this is what we're going to do. Or they could even maybe flip the script on a game and say, a bunch of money came in after halftime. We're going to have to change the outcome of this game. So they might be able to flip the script on these games as they're in progress. Legalized sports betting allows you to bet on everything, like the next play, the next score, individual players scoring, everything. And in the middle of the game, in the fourth quarter, you can still bet on the damn game. So the odds are constantly changing. So it makes sense to me that they could have some games where they don't know for sure who they want to win until maybe after halftime. Then they might let the players in. It's maybe third, fourth quarter. Let them know, okay, here's what's going to go down. But I also think there's games where they know ahead of time who's going to win and who's going to lose. And they just try to keep the game on a certain script. And so you can run plays that don't look rigged, but still be rigged, that I can't call out or critique. If a team runs a 4-yard run, 6-yard pass, like I can't do a video about that. So if they wanted to rig it and make it look more authentic and take away the big plays, run smaller plays, they could essentially make it hard for me to convince people it's rigged, even though it could still be rigged just as much if they did a bunch of small, more believable plays instead of the big, goofy plays that they do. They could actually rig it better than they do, but they choose to try and make it super exciting and have all this shit go on with the field goals hitting the uprights, players diving and missing and all this stuff. So if they wanted to, they really wanted to stick it to me, they could have a game where it's like a bunch of runs, screen passes, 10-yard gains, small stuff I could pick apart. And I wouldn't be able to do much about it. I could be like, hey, it's rigged, but I wouldn't be able to prove it so much if they stuck to smaller plays and didn't make it so obvious. The fact that they make it so obvious is why I'm able to expose them the way I do. Some fucking idiots in the chat. Hey, if you're an idiot bitch hater in the chat, go ahead and present yourself so I can get rid of you. It's that simple. If you think the NFL is real, or you think NASA's really going to space and you don't like me or you don't like my hat, you can shove it up your ass, stupid loser bitch. Thank you, Civilian Warrior. I agree. It is a nice hat. Big Water says all pro sports is rigged. Indeed. Oh yeah. Also, because I released a video breaking down the Vikings and Bills game, I got attacked by hundreds of Viking fans who assume I'm a Bills fan. Let me get rid of this. So Vikings fans are so stupid that they assume that since I said that the game that they played against the Bills is rigged, that I'm a salty Bills fan. So guess what I got to wake up to? Like 100 fucking comments telling me that I'm a salty, crying Bills fan. And I'm mad because my team lost. That's a Vikings go-to thing. Bro, you're just crying because we beat you. Don't you love when a football fanboy says we beat you? They'll say we. They include themselves in the team that won, and then they include you as the team that lost, and they'll say we beat you, and you're just mad and jealous and a hater, and that's why you made a video about the game being rigged. They were trying to rig it for the Bills, but the Vikings were just so good, and you're just such a hater. That's what I get to deal with. So here I am, a guy trying to help people, and I tell them it's rigged, and I get attacked and called a salty Bills fan. I'm mad because I bet on the Bills. I'm mad because my team lost. I'm like, there's not a single video of me with Bills gear. There's not a single video of me ever favoring the Bills or telling you how much I like the Bills. In fact, when I was a fan, I was a Dolphins fan, which means I routinely root against the Bills when I was a fan. When I did watch football, I was a Dolphins fan, and I would always root against the Bills because they were in the same division. So to be called a Bills fan by loser-ass Vikings fans who are like, they have their chest all puffed out. They're like, we beat you. You're just mad because we beat you. We beat you. Don't you love when somebody says we, like they were out there on the field? Big Water says, it tribalism for moron. You know what? I used to do this. When I was a fan, I'll admit, I used to be that stupid. I used to call the Dolphins we're playing the Bills. I hope we win. But then when they lost, I'd be like, they lost. I never included myself when they lost. That's what NFL fans do. They're like, we won. We kicked your ass. We beat you. But then if their team loses, they're like, they didn't play very good. They played like crap. They lost. Then it's they. They don't ever say we lost. I got my ass kicked. No, it's we won. We beat you. But then if they lose, it's like, well, they lost. Don't you love it? This fanboy shit. Hey, Saul. Glad to see you, buddy. Says, we were all kids once. Yes. You know, we were all brainwashed once, so I have to remember what it was like. Here's what the problem is if somebody shows up to my channel and they're like, you really think it's rigged? How could everybody be involved and not someone spill the beans? I don't mind typing them an answer. I don't mind answering someone's question if they're straight up asking me a question without insulting me. I'll sit there and type out a paragraph to help someone wake up. My issue is with the fans who attack me, insult me, and then say something that's not true that I've debunked a million times. Bro, no one's ever came out and ever said anything ever. Magnetic gloves? Can you hear yourself? There's no such thing as magnetic gloves, you idiot. So if someone tells me there's no such thing as magnetic gloves and no players ever came out and said anything, then I have to try to be nice and be like, there is magnetic gloves. And Dwight Smith has came out and said anything. And guess what? Even when I'm nice and I try to explain it to people in a nice way, they'll still crack back at me and be like, you're just a salty Bills fan. Quit crying. We beat you. So then I just delete their comment. And I'm like, screw it. I'm going to delete every goddamn last one of these people calling me a Bills fan. Not going to put up with it. So I deleted probably 100 dudes calling me a Bills fan. I'm just not going to put up with it. I can't explain to every tard that no, I'm not. Like if they won't take the 2 seconds to watch another video on my channel and see that I call out all the teams, that's like their go-to is like,
You're just mad because you root for the team that lost. No, I don't root for that team. The team that I used to root for actually looks good, and I still don't root for them. The coolest dad ever. Yeah, we beat you. That's their shit. Yes. They were out there on the field making plays. Oh God, it's their other favorite one is, bro, you've never played football in your life. You don't know what you're talking about. Bro, you don't know anything about football. Bro, tell me you know nothing about football without telling me you know nothing about football. It's like some TikTok shit. Tell me you know blah, blah, blah without telling me you know blah, blah, blah. I've heard that one fucking like 50 times in the last 2 days. Bruh. They usually start by saying, bruh. Tell me you know nothing about football without telling me you know nothing about football. They say that and they think that they're the first one who's ever said that to me. And they act as if they're the one that made up the phrase. So they'll say that and then they'll put laughing emojis and LOLs after they tell me that I don't know about football. So original to tell me that I don't know about football, have never played football, don't know nothing about it, which is why I get so many views making rigged videos explaining why football's rigged, because I just don't know nothing, right? Because that's what nerds who don't know anything about football do. They make videos breaking down exactly how it's rigged and fake, right? I mean, you know how people are who don't watch football. They're always making videos saying it's rigged, right? Sure. Saul Rosenberg says, we won because I wore my lucky jersey. Don't you love these idiots who are like 50, 60 years old and they still wear another man's name on their back? They wear their favorite millionaire's name. I like this millionaire. My favorite millionaire is this guy. This young man right here who doesn't give a shit about me, whether I live or die, and lives in a mansion and plays pretend football. He's my favorite. I have him on my fantasy team. I like to play fantasy sports and wear my jersey to the game, and I like to paint my face. And when my team loses, I beat my wife and piss and moan for an entire week. Thanks for the donation, Sal. Joe Carter says, bruh. Black Xeric says, I can't. It's true, though. Dude, I wouldn't do all this if it wasn't true. Do you guys realize, like, I'm the one who has to, like, put up with the comments? So even though, like, I know it's just a comment and they're just stupid, when you get the same stupid comments over and over and over again, it's like so hard not to get frustrated. It's so hard not to carry that around with me. So after I read 10, 20, 100 guys say the same shit, it's hard for me like to go out and be like, oh, everything's awesome, I'm in a good mood. It's like I carry some of that with me, like, these stupid motherfuckers don't realize I'm the one who's helping them and I'm the one telling them the truth, and the NFL is the big elite billionaire organization duping them. Stupid motherfuckers, they deserve to be duped, right? So I try to help people, but at the same time, it's very, very frustrating doing this. Super frustrating. If you thought it was frustrating trying to tell your friends that it's rigged, just try and have like 100 Vikings fans within like an hour all show up and accuse you of being a Bills fan. And have to be like, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yaha! They'll argue with you. S4 is a bad joke. UFC is rigged. Yes, UFC is rigged. So you can have a guy get beat up for real, but it still be rigged.
So let me explain this. It doesn't have to be fake like pro wrestling for it to be a phony fight. There are guys who will take a paycheck and get knocked out or submitted. They'll take an early ref stoppage. All you have to do in the MMA is just lay down, put your hands over your head like this, and let a guy go like this for like 5-6 seconds, and then it's over. So all you have to do is eat a shot, go down, and then just do this, and he'll jump on you and pound your arms like this, and then the ref will wave it off. And people are like, it's so real, man. That guy kicked his ass, man. Guys can easily take a paycheck and then just get their ass kind of kicked. They don't mind. So anybody who says that the UFC can't be fake because they really punch each other and really kick each other, so what? And you can even fake the fights by having wrestlers like hold each other down and shit so that the fight goes the distance. There's a lot of different bets to be made in a UFC fight, not just who wins or loses. So over under on a UFC match is like, you know, a guy going the distance or making it past a certain point, you know, in a round. And so if they want to, they can have a fight go the distance and be a draw just as easily as they can have one guy submit the other guy. So all the different sports you can think of, there's always a way to rig it. Mad Dog says, you can knock me the fuck out for 10K. Yeah, man, that's about, some guys will do it for way less. There are some fighters who don't make much, and if given, you know, the opportunity to take a dive and make some cash, they don't mind. They'll do it all day long. I mean, look at what sports has become. We had, the Logan Paul or Jake Paul? Jake Paul fight the Anderson Silva, the retired UFC guy, and beat him. Like, if you look at what fighting in sports has become, it's a joke. Now it's like, these blonde YouTube boys are the best fighters in the world, and they can beat anyone and hang with anyone. Yeah. So if you're a blonde, cute boy and you're athletic, then you could probably be good at anything you do. Now, I will give the Logan Paul credit for his wrestling match with Roman Reigns. So the scripted pretend wrestling match, which everyone knows is scripted and pretend, he actually did put on a good show. I did watch that. I wanted to see how Logan Paul would do in the WWE ring, and if he could actually like put on an entertaining match. And I actually will give the guy credit. He is really athletic and can put on a good wrestling match. I draw the line when they try and scam people with the UFC shit, because they're actually making it out like they're fighting for real. So when Roman Reigns and Logan Paul are wrestling in a WWE match, fans know it's for entertainment and it's not real. No one's being scammed. Whereas, like, if you're saying that like Anderson Silva and Jake Paul are fighting for real and it's not like a scripted sparring match, that's where I draw the line. So it's like, I don't mind if people like want to go watch the WWE because it's not like scripted, or it is scripted, but it's not a scam. So they're not scamming anyone. Whereas the NFL or any sport you can bet on where they're rigging and scripting it, but making people think it's a sports contest, that's what bothers me. That's where I see the evil side, where they're duping people, tricking people. Easy's Automotive says, I'll go down for 5K and buy some race car parts. Yeah, see? There's people here in the chat who will gladly get knocked out or submitted, or just let a wrestler hold you down for a few rounds and lose by decision. Whatever they want, right? As long as you're getting paid. Chuck 1984 says, I used to think WWE shiz was real when I was a wee one. Yeah, so WWE being real is like the Harlem Globetrotters being real. Once you're like above the age of 5 or 6, somebody's going to cue you in and let you know that it's not real, right? So it's only believable to small children. By the time I was like 8, 9, 10, everyone at school was talking about how it was fake. Your older brother, older sister, kids in the neighborhood would tell you it's fake. And so when I was the biggest fan of pro wrestling was when I was a teenager. I knew it wasn't a real fight, but I just thought the matches were entertaining. See, I was a teenager during the Attitude Era of WWF, which is the most popular and profitable time of sports entertainment in the history of that business. So I got to see guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock in their heyday when they were making more money and pulling in more viewers than they ever have, way more than they do nowadays. So I was a huge fan and I enjoyed it for what it was, just scripted entertainment. I knew it wasn't a fight, but I had seen plenty of real fights that were boring. So basically a boring boxing match is way less fun to watch than a good scripted WWE match. If you see two guys like box to a 12-round decision and it's not exciting, it will put you to sleep. Whereas if you watch like two guys who are really good characters put on an entertaining wrestling match, in my opinion, it's more fun to watch. So I was actually a huge wrestling fan when I was a teenager, and I still am a fan of putting on a show for people and the entertainment which it can create. But there is an evil side to the business that I don't like, so I don't really promote the business to anyone. I don't tell people they should watch it, and I'm not a fan like I used to because there's a lot of evil shit going on in that business. Ray Love says, Return of the Doink. Well, I tried to tell you so. Yes, I did, but I guess you didn't know. They be messing with field goals, and there's magnets in the poles. Return of the Doink. It is Return of the Doink. Come on, Return of the Doink. Oh my God, another ball hit the pole. Don't you know? So here's a sad thing. 2 weeks now, I haven't spotted one muff punt. I'm getting worried, guys. I haven't sang Muff Punt City 2 weeks now. I watched every highlight from every game, and nobody that I saw muffed a punt week 10 or week 9. Maybe the NFL's watching me, and they don't want Muff Punt City to become a #1 hit song. So they're purposely telling the players to stop muffing punts so that Jake doesn't make Muff Punt City the #1 song in the world. That's what's happening. Pretty sure. John thinks that's funny. Masculine Moses says, no muff divers. So every week there's been a muffed punt return. Usually there's multiple. And the last 2 weeks, nothing. So I'm wondering if the NFL is keen to what I'm doing. And they're like, all right, we don't want Jake to clown us too hard. And we don't want Muff Punt City to become like a popular hit song or we're screwed. So let's tell the players to actually field the punts correctly. So we're to believe every week there was a muff punt and guys didn't know how to return punts, but now all of a sudden in the last 2 weeks they're all awesome at returning punts and nobody drops one now. Okay. Diamond Sauce says he got that remix stuck in my head the other day. I was dancing and singing Return of the Doink. You're not the only one. There's a method to my madness, right? You won't find any other content creator coming up with anything like Return of the Doink or Muff Punt City. Not in a million years. If they do, they're copying me. There's only a handful of people who make rigged NFL content. and I am clearly the best. I'm not just saying that because I'm me and I'm biased. I'm saying it because it's true. There's only a small handful of guys who make videos about the NFL being rigged currently. And of the ones who do, I am by far the best. Now, that might make some people butthurt to hear that. And they might go as far as to make up lies about me in order to get you to stop watching me. But it's just because they're jealous that this is the #1 rigged NFL content channel in the world right now. Diamond Sus says these are facts. Indeed they are, which is why I present them. Live Action says high school football isn't fake. Awesome. Awesome comment. In fact, I actually want to make a point about this. If you guys want to watch real football, watch Pee-wees or some JV football or some local high school football and watch how the games play out. Every year there's teams who are awesome, who are like undefeated, and then there's teams who suck and can't win a game. Go watch a good high school team play a shitty high school team and tell me what the outcome of that game is and how exciting it was to watch. Here's what happens in real football. A good team will destroy a shitty team every time. I've played high school football. I know what it's like when you're outmatched and you have no chance. There's no such thing as any given Sunday anyone can win. That only exists in pretend professional football, where the games are rigged and phony. In the real world, a loser-ass high school team who can't win a game doesn't beat the team that's undefeated. It never happens. Go watch a good team play a shit team. You know what happens? 70-0 type scores. 70, 80-0 is what happens when a really good team who's well coached plays a smaller school who doesn't have the athletes capable of keeping up. It's not like they just lose. They get their asses stomped. And this happens pretty easily because the losing team will give up and stop playing their hardest. So these comebacks where a team is down in the NFL 17 points and then they come back and win. In real life, if a high school team starts losing by 2-3 touchdowns, they usually give up and then it gets worse. Very rarely does a high school team mount any sort of giant comeback. I'm not saying it's never, ever happened in the history of the world. I'm saying it's super, super rare. All the way down to Pee-wee. If you have Pee-wee kids who are coached well and they're undefeated and they're playing a Pee-wee team that is not coached well and hasn't won a game, there is no any given Sunday scenario where the little kids who suck are going to win. And it's going to be bad. They have put mercy rules into place to stop Pee-wee football games because they don't want kids crying for losing 100-0. Kids cry and give up once they start losing. Go watch a Pee-wee football team. If one team starts beating the shit out of the other team, the team who's losing will cry and stop and quit. Kids quit in the middle of games in football. I swear they do. It's not that these kids are weaklings either. If you're outmatched by a bunch of kids from the hood, who are well coached, who have great athletes, who are playing just some regular country kids or whatever, who are just playing football for fun, the score can get out of hand fast. And it can be not even a sports contest at that point. It can be like basically one team just beating up on another. And it's sad to watch. It's not enjoyable unless you're a parent of the team that's winning. So as a spectator, you're not going to want to watch one team kick the shit out of another team 80-0, I would think. So as a spectator, if you go watch a real football game, you're generally going to see the better team always win. And it's not going to be that competitive. And there's going to be moments where, like, it's not that fun to watch. Just like if you're going to go watch Olympic wrestling. How many people do you know watch Olympic style or Greco-Roman wrestling? Now, how many people watch pro wrestling? Go ahead. Think about it for a minute. How many people are going to go to a stadium to watch two guys amateur wrestle? Greco-Roman style, Olympic style. How many people are going to watch that? Is that spectator friendly? Now think of the WWE putting on a cage match with Roman Reigns and The Undertaker coming out of retirement. Now you have something that's spectator friendly. So the scripted sport entertainment is more spectator friendly, is going to draw in more viewers and more money than the sport that's real that nobody wants to watch. I am Lord Sri here says Olympic wrestlers not rigged for show. Yeah, but what I'm saying is nobody wants to watch that. Name some awesome wrestlers that are current right now. You get what I'm saying? It's like nobody's going to pay and be like, oh, I'm going to the stadium to watch some Greco-Roman wrestling. No. Whereas people do pay and go to a stadium to watch WrestleMania. People will pay and sit in the top deck to watch WrestleMania. See Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, right? Understand? And yes, the Olympics are rigged as well. I'm just saying, like, I've actually been to like amateur wrestling matches, and I've done amateur wrestling, so I know what it's like to sit in a gymnasium and watch a wrestling tournament all day long and see like 50 matches in the same day and wrestle my own matches. So I know how boring it can get to watch amateur wrestling because I did it and I won entire tournaments. And I've sat there all day watching other wrestlers, and it's not something I would go watch now at all. You'd have to pay me to go sit and watch wrestling, real wrestling. Whereas if it's an exciting WrestleMania matchup, like, I'll watch it just for the entertainment. So when people ask about, real football and like the difference between like scripted and real football, it's like the most obvious thing is this: good teams will beat the shitty teams. So you can't go bet on a undefeated high school team to beat a shitty high school team, right? There's no high school spreads. But in the NFL, guess what? The Commanders or the Redskins will beat the undefeated Eagles any given Sunday, man. Any given Sunday, anyone can win. Even the commander-ass Redskins can beat the undefeated Eagles, man. Anything can happen. Whereas, like I said, find a team who's lost half their games in high school, who's playing an undefeated team. And the undefeated team will wipe the floor with them. And you won't be able to bet on it. Jacob Householder says, you won rigged tourneys. Oh, yeah, man. Me and all the kids who I amateur wrestled against in the gymnasiums. Yeah, we were all in on it. We were putting on rigged and scripted matches. Or no, they were all in on it, and I was the only one who didn't know. So they were taking dives, and I thought it was real. Right? Which is it? Juan Ruiz says, cheers, Jake. Been following you for a while now. Thanks for all you do. Cheers, my brother. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Calypso says, Jake wrote the script. Also, another thing, I don't want any of you guys to get scammed by anyone claiming to decode pics with Gematria. Anyone claiming to decode pics or sells pics, Zach Hubbard, scammer, don't do it. Don't buy the pics. Don't listen to them. Anyone touting Gematria is usually somehow connected back to that loser and scammer. And then there's usually someone who will tell me, oh, if you don't think Gematria is being used, then you're crazy. Here's the thing. You can make up a riddle and just find numbers and then start making connections to these numbers that you found and made up yourself. And then Zach Hubbard can do the same thing. You can get two guys who perform Gematria, get two different results, pick two different teams. One of them's going to win. One of them's going to lose. So the guy who wins is like, my Gematria helped me decode the riddle. Then the guy that loses is like, I must have did the riddle incorrectly. Well, I'll get him next time. See how that works? So Zach Hubbard, scammer, has been busted for having loser picks over and over and over again. He's lost a lot of people money. Yet I still get these robot people telling me I need to learn Gematria. Yeah, Jake, the games are rigged. You should learn Gematria so that you can bet and win all this money. Yeah, okay. It's basically this bullshit trick where he's like, guys, number 43, Buffalo Bill penis equals 43, and Raven Monkey Wiener also equals 43, and then the Queen's birthday, she was 43 at one time, and then my uncle's cousin, he's also 43, and then right down the street, an address is 4343 Street. So I think that means that the riddle means that Chicago will maybe win. And then when Chicago loses, he's like, congratulations to all the sports bettors who didn't take Chicago, like I totally told you not to. That's a Zach Hubbard move. Lead you to take a team and then tell you he didn't pick that team when they lose. And every time I make a video, there's usually one or two guys who will tell me I need to learn Gematria and follow this guy. It's like that trick where you're like, is somebody here, does somebody here have a relative who died recently with a name that starts with a J? My Aunt Josephine died recently. Yeah. Oh, I totally knew that. That's why I asked if there was someone over here sitting in this section who had a relative die with the name J, because I totally knew about your Aunt Josephine. And it was an unexpected death, and it made you sad? Yeah, it did. It made me sad. I totally knew that. I totally knew about your Aunt Josephine dying, and it made you sad. Oh, I'm just so psychic. It's like that shit. And so these scammers will sell picks. Here's the thing that I don't do. I don't make a bunch of picks, and I don't sell picks. I'll tell you who I think maybe might end up in the Super Bowl due to a storyline or something. But I'm not going to sell you a pick or put any money on the line because I'm not even confident in my own picks. I've tried to pick winners, and I can't do it enough to be successful. And I'm not going to be a scammer like Zach Hubbard and sell picks, loser picks, have people call me out for it while collecting their money on Patreon over and over just to continue to keep putting out losing picks and lying each week. Jason Nichols says only salty Bills fans use Gematria. Now, you'd be surprised how many people he has tricked into believing that he's decoding these games, even though he gets them wrong all the time. He'll have a winning week. Everybody has winning weeks. If you're picking games, you're going to have weeks where you win. But you got to be honest and show all your losses and be honest about your losses. And Hubbard will literally tell you to pick a side, and then he will literally tell you that he didn't pick that and that you listened to the riddle incorrectly. He hasn't done that just a few times. That's his MO. Every week he's got a pick or two that he flip-flops and congratulates his people for winning. And then they're like, bro, you didn't make that pick. And he calls those people haters, liars and haters. Faceman says people want to be tricked. Hey, people enjoy it, man. They love their slavery. People want to be locked down. They want Big Daddy government to govern them as hard as possible. Stefano's making a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I bought his Patreon to see what it is. 50% of the time, he doesn't make a pick. He says either could happen. He makes a case for both teams. He will do that a lot. He'll be like, 13, Chicago, 13, Bears, Justin Fields, 13. On the 13th of the month, the Queen's pussy equals 13. So the Bears might win, but then also the Lions, 13, Detroit, 13, Detroit monkey in my butthole, 13. So Detroit might also win. And then he'll congratulate the winners afterwards. Yeah, he'll make a case for both teams when he's not sure. And then he'll act as if he won. Well, you guys like that last joke, huh? Yeah. Thought so. Thought so. In fact, I'll even show you guys a little clip. Before I jump off here, I'll just show you guys a little clip. There's actually a channel dedicated to exposing Zach Hubbard. It's an entire channel dedicated to proving that the guy is a scammer and he's full of shit. Let me pull up the latest video. It was really good. It's long, so we won't watch the whole thing, but we'll watch a little bit. All right, so again, do not buy picks from anyone claiming that they can decode shit with Gematria. They're liars. Scammers.
True seeker.
Again, if there was more like care in the world and more people that were about cooperating and working together rather than being jealous and haters, you'd see YouTube full of videos, you know, thanking me for the work, celebrating the work. I mean, there are a lot of people that thank me for the work and they show their support by supporting the platforms that I have to, you know, show support, like Patreon.
Here we go.
Almost all the videos that are made about me are by haters who lie and slander. And I can guarantee you almost all of them are a bunch of oohs. And you know what I mean when I say oohs? I can guarantee almost every single last one's a ooh.
Ironic.
And by the way, yes, my last name is Hubbard, and people ask me if I'm related to L. Ron. The answer is no. In fact, I'm not even related to anybody named Hubbard. I have no bloodline to that name. My father does not know who his father is. And at one point, he heard his father might be named Greenblatt, which is a Jewish last name. So I might actually be a Greenblatt. Anyhow.
And I can guarantee you almost all of them are a bunch of oohs. And you know what I mean when I say oohs? I can guarantee almost every single last one's a ooh.
Which is a Jewish last name. So I might actually be a Greenblatt. Anyhow.
Hello, Jews.
Again, we just had a great week of basketball. What gets produced? A video with my face that says fraud alert, Zach's horrible basketball picks. Like, horrible basketball picks. Let's see. Let's go back and count for the week. Let's see. We hit over 70% of games, and there's a video made about me about the horrible picks. Weird, because everybody who supports the work made good money this week. Then meanwhile, anybody who doesn't know and is just looking for more information, all they're finding is this loser making all these fake videos based in bullshit where he only focuses on what's wrong. because not to mention that guy's a moron. He also copies me and tries to have his own Patreon where he puts out his own picks, but he's too dumb. He can't even count. One of his public posts recently is about the 44 days that Liz Truss been in office. He's so much of a moron, he doesn't even know that she spent 45 days in office, not 44. Is because it's all about London Bridge, the operation for when the Queen died. And what's a truss? Oh, yeah, that's the thing that goes over the bridge that helps it stay up above the water. A truss. You see how the ritual works? Liz Truss in office for 45 days. See, I find that real funny now that YouTube's birthday is the 113th day of the year, and I'm constantly getting taken down for misinformation, even though all I'm saying is 100% million verifiable facts. And then on YouTube, it's full of probably ooze who don't show their face, who are slandering me and lying about me, you know?
Which is a Jewish last name. So I might actually be a Greenblatt. Anyhow.
Wish some more people would step up and make some nice videos about how much I've helped them out in their life, because I know there's thousands of people who can do that, but they don't really make videos. They kind of just watch YouTube videos. Anyway, but again, today was a mediocre day. And for people who were not here in the beginning, once upon a time, for people who were here pre-fall 2018, I did all this work for free. I had so many hours of live streams that back then used to get views teaching this knowledge and how the games are rigged. Since the fall of 2018, for people who don't know the story, I used to be a teacher. I got kicked out of my profession, essentially, for writing a book. In the fall of 2018, I began charging a measly rate of $5 a month for people who wanted the sports information. And if you guys actually follow my Patreon, you'll hear callers routinely say, Zach, when are you going to start charging us more?
You believe this fucking guy.
And again, even in the time of inflation, where everything's way more expensive, I haven't raised my price. I would have always done this for free had things not changed in my life in the fall of 2018 when I got kicked out of my profession and I had the FBI come to my house, which also really pissed off sweet lady. And she said, you need to start charging for what you're doing because look, now you don't even have a livelihood. Of it being the day left, 50 days left in the year, and the 49ers are going for their 50. I'm not going to keep repeating myself, but so. Then Victor called in with the Washington thing, and I was like, well, I think we know what time it is now. And you know what's funny? The same troll that I'm talking about, he actually made a video specifically saying that I was a liar about that game and didn't help anybody out. As they're lying.
Sure, Dan.
And the book was put out before Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl in the Bengals 54 season. And again, this is no bullshit.
All right. So basically, you can see that he had 2 weeks where he had winning picks. And these are his NBA picks. He had several weeks where he ate shit. So this guy will give out a bunch of different picks, but he doesn't always bet with the spread. Sometimes he'll just give you a riddle for the money line winner. So he'll just tell you to bet on a favorite who's like minus 500, minus 600. So if you're betting, money on big money line favorites, you're not going to win that much when you win. And then when you lose those, then you get wiped out completely on that bet. And so if you look at all the weeks that he lost here, he'll still try and spin this like he's some awesome predictor of sports, even though it's proven when you keep track of his picks that he is a loser and a scammer. Beware of locusts. Zach and Owen are ooze. I could totally see that. PJ CNET says you'd be better off reading tea leaves than buying his picks. Yeah, so anybody trying to figure out who's going to win these rigged and scripted games, and you hear people talking about Gematria, well, this is Mr. Gematria. This is like the number one name in all of decoding Gematria, and you can see that he loses consistently. And he only likes to talk about his wins, and he goes as far as to lie about his losses. Diamond Sauce is Owen who? Owen Benjamin. Shillbag and a ooh.
Bengals. A lot of nice upsets. Won't be an upset today, but still have some value because the Bengals are a slight underdog, and I do think they're going down in the 54 ritual. If they do go down, there's also an area code ritual here.
Like, you hear that? An area code ritual. So he's looking at the area code and then factoring that into his Gematria. If you look at all the stuff he put, it's like he just finds a number somehow that he wants and goes and finds it and then plugs it in here. And he's like, I decoded it. I figured out the riddle. It's the area code times the amount of wiener hairs that the queen has times 666. And that's because, you know, I just figured out the riddle because I'm so smart. Dame Beat says Zach is a fraud. Yeah, obviously. See, so he'll put this stuff like Tannehill's 136th game, Bengals equals 75, Tannehill's 5th playoff game. He's 2-2. And he just basically will flood your head with a bunch of numbers so it sounds like he's making sense and making connections. But then it comes down to him just making a football pick, which is sometimes right and sometimes wrong. When he gets it wrong, he's like, ooh, we missed the riddle. It's like, dude, it's the same as just picking wrong. There is no riddle.
And notice, if the Bengals lose, they are 5-4 away for the season, 54th season, just like what happened to the Raiders last week. And Tennessee Titans equals 54 in the most pure. And the area code riddle is right here. The Bengals are 6-14 in the playoffs. They've never won away. They're 0-8 away. If they lose, they will be 6-15 in the playoffs. Shout out to Martin. Martin hit me up with this one at the beginning of the week. He goes, I like that Bengals Titans game because there's one other thing there too, an area code riddle. I said, oh, really? He said, yep, Nashville's the 615. I had to look it up. Boom. If the Bengals lose, they're 6-15 in the playoffs. And historically, area code riddles are very good in sports. Pi riddles are very good. Gematria riddles, especially when they go with the date numerology, are very good. So, again, just got to follow the pattern that there is all year. If Tannehill wins today, he'll get his 75th career win. Cincinnati Bengals, 75 in the most pure. But I think the 54 comes through again. And so I got to favor the favored Titans here. So, again, ultimately for me, it comes down to the 54, and I do like the area code riddle.
Oh, yeah, the Titans will win because of the area code riddle and the pie riddle, riddle me timbers, Matt riddle. You know, you just pick a number and then say another number and then say another number and then say the word riddle and then you make your pick and then it's wrong. All that shit and it's wrong. That's why I don't make picks and do shit like this and don't scam people. A, because I'm not a piece of shit. B, because there's no way to know who the NFL's really going to pick. Sometimes they go where the public money is. Sometimes they don't pull the rug out from underneath the public. Sometimes they let the big favorite win. So you never know exactly which way the NFL's going to go. They like to script their upsets, sure, but you don't know for sure when it's going to happen. You don't know when they're going to have the favorite win, when they're going to let the public have a bone. They throw the public a bone every once in a while to keep the public thinking that they can pick winners. They can't script it every time for the underdog, otherwise that becomes too obvious. So when someone says that they have a special ability to decode this shit, and they go on to give all these numbers, and then they get it wrong, and they get it wrong consistently, how in the fuck can this person make over $100,000 a year on Patreon picks? This guy right here gets like $100,000 a year just Patreon picks, not on betting. He doesn't make money betting and winning. He makes money selling his picks to people who are gullible enough to buy them, and he sells them to people in the amount of a six-figure salary. So, yeah, I call out people like this. Other people won't say nothing, but I say something. Geno X makes money selling hopes and dreams. He's keeping you financially invested in the NFL, keeping you emotionally invested. If you're financially invested, as in betting on the games, then chances are you're going to be emotionally invested because your money's on the line. If your money's on the line and you're emotionally invested, you're going to watch the game. That means the NFL has you right where they want you. I don't want you guys to watch these 3-hour games. I don't want you to get scammed and lose your money. That's why I'm showing you what I'm showing you now. Zach Hubbard will say, I'm an ooh and a hater. And then he'll say the NFL is rigged, but his picks are good and that you should buy them. That's what he'll tell you. You go tell him that Jake just exposed your ass. He'll say, Jake's an idiot, ooh, and he's jealous of my picks, or something like that. That'll be his story. Dan says, did we go to the moon again yet? No, still not yet, bro. And we never are going. Live Action says, the ooze love taking your money. Indeed. I mean, imagine if you had the ability to rig and script a league and people were betting on it by the billions. And days before the games, you could sit there and pick with your buddies and business mates like how you're going to rig and script it to make a buttload of money. And then you tell the players and the coaches what needs to happen, and then they perform those games according to script. I mean, it's quite a brilliant scam. It really is. It's crazy that something this well organized and fake and phony at the same time exists, you know? Like, it's clearly blatant and obvious that it's fake. At the same time, millions and millions of people are watching and getting duped and thinking it's real. All right. Well, that's pretty much what I had for you guys tonight. We debunked the Artemis rocket launch at the beginning. If you missed it, go back and watch. We went through the footage of the Artemis rocket launch, and we all made fun of it, pointed and laughed, debunked it. So we did that, and then we went on to inspect some Harlem Globetrotters footage. I made a lot of good points. And we just finished off with Zach Hubbard exposing. So I think that's a pretty good stream. I'll let you guys go ahead and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. And if you haven't caught my last NFL rigged video, make sure you watch that. And until next time, it's been fun. Thank you for all the donations and all the comments. I'll go back and read all the comments that I missed in the replay. And until next time, guys, this is Jake the Asshole signing out. Peace. Have a good one.